Guys, moving on then to the next slot, which is a interactive session between myself and Peter de Villiers. This is not the ex-Springbok coach, rather he is the dynamic senior manager of IT strategy and planning at CCBA, which is the Coca-Cola Beverages Company. CCBA is the 8th largest Coca-Cola bottling partner worldwide by revenue and the biggest on the continent, accounting for about 40% of all Coca-Cola volumes sold in Africa. They employ more than 17,000 people, and their 42 bottling plants service over 600,000 customer outlets. At CCBA, their purpose is to refresh Africa every day and make our continent a better place for all. They have an inclusive business culture that reflects our African identity. On their journey to becoming a total beverage company, CCBA currently manufactures and distributes more than 40 brands, which include Coca-Cola. The first Coke was served in Africa in 1928. Then you've got Fanta, Sprite, Appletiser, Volpre, to name a few. They've invested in their supply chain, enabling them to bring new drinks made for local taste to more people in more places faster than anyone else. Peter, welcome, and thanks for being with us this morning.
Great. Good morning, and it's good to be with you. Had an interesting so far.
Yeah, Peter, so listen, man, this chat's going to cover some details on the system features, but more so the CCBA digitization journey, right, which was dubbed as Project Horizon. Okay, so let's kick off on that. Why digitize? What was the summary vision for this project?
Yeah, so I mean, I think for us, it's been a journey. So CCBA is quite a young company. We are born out of a merger of multiple Coke bottling assets. So as you can imagine, lots of disparate systems, lots of technical debt. And if we looked at where we wanted to be as an organization, there was a couple of things that became clear to us. One was we needed to be a single unified organization, one CCBA, one organization, one way of doing things. And of course, that meant consolidated platforms, right? So we needed to have a single platform, single way of doing things, new business processes that could enable our company to go forward. We also needed to digitize as part of this undertaking. So the digitalization process and Project Horizon is all encompassing. It's not just the new ERP and getting a new single ERP in place, but it's really everything, company touching on BI, analytics, our people. So it's really all encompassing. The digital core, which is the new ERP, happens to be one of the biggest aspects of our program, and it's a journey we've been on for a while. But digitizing for us, we saw as one of our big bets to achieve our long-term goals. As an organization, you can't sit with disparate legacy systems. You need a new modern digital core that gives you the power and flexibility to be able to really be agile, to become a data-driven enterprise, to enable the new digital worker and ways of working. And you'd see in the slide deck that we had a number of key focus areas. So internally, we digitized the enterprise. So that's new ERPs, common harmonized payroll systems across the group, standardized ways of working, but also very importantly, creating an environment for our people so that they can truly become digital workers, and not just the traditional IT people, but also every employee, giving them access to things like self-service, simple things like pay slips, online leave applications, and so forth. We also very importantly digitize for our customers, the stores that sell our products, and our consumers. So really creating new channels, new ways of interacting and engaging with both our customers and our consumers, and underpinning that really common BI and analytics platforms, modernizing our entire dataverse, if I can call it that way, and making sure that we've set up the platform to become truly a data-driven enterprise. And we can only do that when all of our systems are also, digitized and able to feed into our data lakes. And then lastly, you can't forget about your IT function capabilities. The way you do things has to evolve. We're predominantly buying SaaS first, cloud first solutions, and that means the way IT works and the way our business works is very, very different to what it used to be in the past. And we've really had to evolve as IT, our operating model, the way we partner with our business and our partners such as yourselves. And the conversation is very different. As IT, we're not supporting services anymore, but we're really becoming business value creators. So that's really the biggest change in our journey. And naturally, you've also got all the foundational stuff you have to do: network, security, making sure you've got the right people, they've got the right talent, they're trained, so a lot of change management required, not only for the business, but also IT as we go on this journey. So it's an exciting ride, I can tell you that.
Yeah, Peter, I mean, look, and we're talking here about like a total overall, right? So, I mean, CCBI shifting to Microsoft solutions, off SAP in, Dynamics 365, Azure, Microsoft 365, to upgrade finance, improve customer engagement, drive HR capabilities. I mean, in terms of embarking on a project like this is huge. And you layer that with a cloud decision for an enterprise business, with listed shareholders in there. I mean, this is pretty disruptive, right? And against the grain.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. When we started this journey, I think we were pioneers potentially in the space. A lot of people weren't going this route. If you look at our core ERP, we're probably one of the biggest customers globally that will be going on to the Microsoft platforms. But even before we started the journey on our ERP, as you're well aware, we moved our payroll to the cloud, completely software as a service, paper payslip. And for us, that was a big change. And you had to get the buy-in from the top, right? So our CEO down supports the digitalization of CCBA. As an organization, it's one of our big 5 bets. It's one of the strategic things our strategic plays as a company, and we're investing in that. And we've organized all of our people across the entire group to get behind these initiatives. But that change and led from the top is absolutely key. I mean, our CEO, as an example, every single month when he has his team's live events, digitalization and our progress is always talked about. And it's a big program, as you can see. We're doing everything from HR harmonization, transforming our HR space, modernizing our ERP, putting in a new BI and analytics layer, doing all of the cloud migrations, network transformations, security modernization, new customer platforms. So it's a significant change to organization. And if you're not all aligned, we will quickly get the program going off in different directions. So we've dedicated people to the program. We've got dedicated change teams, and we really lead it from the front to make sure that as an organization we can deliver this successfully. This is not an IT program. A digital transformation program is a business program. It drives our business strategy from a digital perspective. We like to say it's business-led, IT-enabled. So we are a function partnering in the delivery of this program.
Yeah, I mean, and like you touched on there, right? You've got governance, security, legal, and from a listed company, like the Coca-Cola company being involved as a major shareholder in this, is huge. And as you say, driven from the top, everyone's got to have buy-in, from the execs, Joshua, Kathy, I remember, these energetic teams. And I mean, we were engaged with you guys from 2019. So, we've seen the rollout now to 14 countries live in less than 2 years, which has been a fast decision-making from you guys to digitize, and is this fast-paced execution like a culture in CCBA, and why is it important?
Yeah, I think, for us, if we're going to win in the markets, we need to be agile. We need to digitally transform. We really need to be able to make sure that we can execute quickly on our transformation program. So for us, it was around selecting the right partners who can keep pace with us and keep pace with the change. As an enterprise, we drive, as I mentioned, that change, throughout, and then we really have all of our work streams coming on. PaySpace and our payroll harmonization was really a very, very fast-paced program. We took the time up front to get South Africa right. We harmonized a number of different payrolls there, so that took longer from a legal perspective, and we really got the foundation right for our group. And then rapidly, after that first year, we rolled out to another 13 markets. So much so that now, to enable our future growth ambitions, we're able to, if we get a new acquisition within 2 to 3 months, at the most, we are able to roll out a payroll to a new acquisition, roll out the basic systems, or bring on board the existing systems in a secure way, and then be able to onboard that company and get value from that acquisition. Being a growth organization, this agility and speed is absolutely critical to us to be able to meet our growth objectives over time. So it's really important for us to do that properly, but also maintaining the appropriate governance, right? So we need to make sure that we've got the security in place, we've got the necessary controls in place, we have the necessary assurances in place from an audit and compliance perspective. As the Coca-Cola company and our CCBA, we take governance very, very seriously. It's integral to our brand. to make sure that we're well governed, that we are secure, and that our customers and consumers can trust us, can trust interacting with us, and that our employees can trust us, as well with their personal information. So, selecting the right partner to do this at speed, but while securely was absolutely key for us.
Awesome, man. So if we then move into, we've seen these moving parts, many moving aspects to it, the communications, this, that. So just going into a little bit of the project details now. So, in terms of this consolidation element, as mentioned, operations in 14 countries. So after cloud native technology, which you guys were after from the digitization perspective, footprint was key because of these 14 countries, to your decision on the payroll provider of choice. I mean, how many vendors did you guys review in the choosing this part of the whole digitization?
So, we cast the net wide. So we have a process. We had a look at what's out in the market. We narrowed it down to companies that met our requirements. And for us, we had a couple of key requirements. Security was top of mind. So we needed somebody who was properly certified, who was compliant with privacy legislation, somebody who could give us what we wanted from a flexibility and consumption perspective. So true consumptive service. Somebody who could really deploy quickly, who could scale agilely, and enable us to roll out to multiple markets very quickly. So those were a couple of the key requirements that drove us. We had a principle of cloud first, SaaS first, obviously not at the expense of everything, but luckily in PaySpace, we were able to find that right mix, right, where we could get the SaaS first, cloud first, truly consumptive speed with the security and the agility enabled. So really, really suited our needs. But we went from dozens down to a short list of about, if I recall correctly, 6 vendors. And then we shortlisted down to 2, and then finally selected PaySpace. We didn't only look at obviously local players, but all of the big names were in the pot there. Including the newest versions of our legacy payroll that we were running.
Awesome, Peter. So, okay, cool. Cloud accessibility, obviously key, compliance, as you've mentioned. But, one learns here that in this digitization, systems need to talk to each other. So at the beginning, I recall, API is an absolute showstopper, because you've got to be able to talk. And, now that really is coming to fruition in terms of the integration to Dynamics, working with 4Vision. So give us a sense more on this API and how important this API layer is.
So, it's critically important. I think in the beginning of the journey, as with all of these journeys, there's some teething issues, but it's all around how the partnership worked and how we failed forward fast, and we were able to learn and rectify things. We've got the API integration in place at the moment. We've integrated to multiple SAP instances and non-SAP instances for some of our other markets that were not on SAP. And as you said, for our new digital core, we're partnering with 4Vision, who's providing HCM systems and really doing that integration. Without the API layer in place, we couldn't communicate securely, we couldn't integrate as easily and flexibly as we had, and we would have never been able to achieve this plan. And the great thing is we achieved this plan. As you can see, we started South Africa in 2020 and then rapidly rolled out to the rest of our markets through the subsequent 2 years, with the last countries wrapping up at the beginning of this year. And a lot of these dates were driven by legislative required, when the tax periods end. So we were able to meet those without any slippage, but that's because the technical layer just had to work. It had to be seamless, had to be invisible. I don't actually recall one specific discussion or issue around that layer because the correct technologies were put in place and we were able to do what we needed to do.
Awesome, man. So, Peter, and I think, just on this kind of topic here of the accessibility, cloud, APIs, etc., coming from SAP, rigid, bureaucratic as such, costs, control, speed to make your own changes to unlock things like employee self-service, manager self-service. You mentioned the claims, etc., this expatriate modules, normalizing and making that automated. So just to this cost element, how did that tie in? How important of a factor was that?
So, I think, when we look at solutions, obviously cost is always important. And I mentioned a couple of the other factors for us that are part of the business case. So cost is not your number one decision when you make a selection like this. It's really about enabling your key business objectives. Luckily for us, cost is always a consideration, and we were able to meet our business case. You were able to achieve our cost saving objectives while standardizing our payroll across our group. So there's benefits from just a pure systems perspective. But then you look beyond the systems, the things that you can enable from a business perspective, enabling business processes, enabling things like shared services, all of those kind of things we can now unlock and deliver additional value within our business. So there's significant benefit to harmonize and standardize system beyond just the system run costs, where we have already seen benefit. And I think, in terms of ongoing development, it's often a hidden cost, right? So previously, when you had your own system, you were responsible for maintaining it, enhancing it, updating it, adding the new releases, testing all of those things. With the SaaS solution, that's all taken care of. What we focus on rather is partnering with yourselves together with our HR function and making sure that as a collective partnership, we understand your roadmap and obviously give you input into that roadmap. And then that roadmap we roll out and make sure it gets properly introduced to the rest of our business. And that's how we continue to drive value as we go on this journey. I think the latest one, one of the new things was that WhatsApp interaction. Really innovative. If we try to do that with our legacy systems, would have been tremendously challenging.
Awesome, man. Well, so great that you guys have seen, that cost saving in and amongst all of, the rollout. So, I mean, it does, though, come with an important part on these projects, Peter, change management and training. I mean, you can't achieve these successful results, and with all the moving parts, different parties involved, your employees, unions in the case of payroll, all of your HR teams, execs, etc. I mean, just give us a sense here of that, the change management training requirement to ensure the success.
So absolutely. I mean, I think from a change perspective, you're 100% correct. I mean, you'll see the slide has got a snapshot of the change management approach. We drove this from top down. So from our group CEO to our chief people and culture officer and down to our various country leadership teams, we drove the change throughout. And we obviously have the governance forums, routines, steering committees, all of those kind of good things in place. But we have a very strong change management team that was really dedicated to this digitalization journey. And they made sure we've got defined change plans. You will see there's defined timelines. So, for example, in this case, which was Ghana, they started engaging 26 November last year. HR team engagement, country management team engagement, there were union engagement, team leaders, end users, awareness comms campaigns, the training, and then the go live, which was Q1 this year. So it's quite a short time cycle, but to get that short time cycle, you really have to get your change management, your training down pat. Also, we've delivered this all remotely. We did not travel to a single country. So for us, if you look at where we started in 2019, obviously that was pre-COVID. We got the lockdowns early in 2020. So we had to do the vast majority of these deployments through COVID, through lockdowns. So being able to do this remotely was absolutely paramount. And the training approach, it's slick, the materials available, and it's also evolved over time. So as we did each one, we continue to evolve that and get better and better at it. We've got training tools and technologies in place that we use to measure the success of our training and measure how entrenched that knowledge has been. If you look at one of these projects and sort of the time frame, the biggest driver on time is your change management and your training. The actual technical config piece of it, gathering the requirements, getting configured, that's the easy bit. This is the meat of the project, and this is what we focus the most on.
Awesome. But I mean, obviously, a key element as well, the collaboration between the two teams from the two companies, using a lessons learned methodology, agile. So, awesome that was in place to get this over the line, and amazing, to see those end results, and that it is a success. So, Peter, from our side, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you very much for your willingness and energy to participate in showcasing CCBA's journey to the digitalization. And well done as a company for being forefront in your decisions, man. And, much appreciated today.
No, I mean, thank you. It was great joining you. And, just really want to say thank you for having me. And of course, to the Pace-based team, I think thank you for the great support that we've had, not only during the project, but also once we're live, and the partnership to really continuously drive forward improvements. Without that, we wouldn't be where we are today, and we really do appreciate that partnership.